everyone. My name is Chantal. I first came to recovery through LifeLab in 2018 when I met John and Vicki. And thanks to that opportunity, I can also now work the big book in my recovery. And I never thought I'd be working the big book because my addiction isn't drugs and alcohol. There's other things involved, but tonight I'm going to read a personal story from a physician. And the title was Acceptance Was the Answer. And what I've chosen to do is adapt it to my experience into the story. And at first I thought it would be pretty simple, husband instead of wife and his instead of hers. But about halfway through, God, as he always does, took the pen. So I'll actually get to share about something current as well. And I thought that was pretty wonderful because I never could trust God before. I never trusted anyone. So when I first came to the rooms of BBA, I'll hang on to the idea that if I could just control the outside world through people-pleasing, performing, perfecting, fixing, obsessing, and manipulating, in other words, pride and denial, I would feel okay on the inside. Sex, work, money, food, and obsessing about or trying to fix other people's problems were the substances I used to bring me ease and comfort on the inside. Once I took the third step, life started getting simpler and easier as I tried to surrender my old ideas and distorted thinking. Yet I was still afraid to let go of what I had in order to try something new. Although it wasn't working for me, there was a certain sense of security in the familiar. Then one day I considered what might happen if I stopped living my circumstances and lived in acceptance. Acceptance gave me the ability to let go of my controlling, fixing, and obsessing. And I began to see that I could be okay with life on life's terms. Acceptance was also the answer to my marital problems. Once I let go of how I believed my spouse and marriage should be, I stopped criticizing and judging my husband. I set aside my magnifying lens, which always found the worst in others, and put my lenses on straight. The courage to change in the serenity prayer meant not that I should change my marriage, but rather that I should change myself and learn to accept my spouse as he was and where he was at in his own recovery. Thanks to working recovery, I have this new lens. I can again focus on my husband's good qualities and watch them grow. Acceptance was also the answer to my weariness and my workaholism. This month, when I found myself depleted of resilience, God reminded me that it wasn't my first time at this crossroad. In 2013, when asked if I would consider taking leave, I let pride take over and said, "No worries, I got this. I have the tools I need to sustain my mental health. I just need to apply them." Then in 2016, after a string of stressful weeks at work, I showed up at the ER with a racing heart, something called supraventricular tachycardia, and that was something that I was experiencing regularly that year. When I followed up with my family doctor, she suggested I take some leave again. I let pride and denial take over and said, "Surely after the holidays, things will be better. All my manager and I need is rest." In both of these cases, my position was eventually reorganized and I lost my jobs. The general anxiety disorder that I lived with and the depression took over my mental obsessions and leveled up my distorted thinking. In 2018, I changed organizations twice so that I wouldn't crumble under bullying in the workplace. Yet I was still blaming colleagues and managers. I was in serious denial about my mental health and each time chose to push through instead of heeding professional advice. As of this week, because of God, recovery, fellows, and faith, I am heeding my doctor's advice and I am on leave of absence. I conceded that the only way to shore up my resilience and walk in the freedom of recovery was to make a different choice, a choice different from the ones I had made previously. And so far, it's been quite miraculous. If anything, it shows me how much I've grown, let alone sharing hope with others. Today, acceptance is the answer to all my problems. When I am disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, thing, or situation, some fact of my life unacceptable to me, and I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, thing, or situation as being exactly the way it's supposed to be at this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake. I'm learning to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world as on what needs to be changed in me and my attitudes. I must keep my magnifying lens and mind on my acceptance and off my expectations, for my serenity is directly proportional to my level of acceptance. One last sentence. When I remember this, I can see I've never had it so good. All the praises and the glory are God's, not mine. Thank you.